Guests on Keel appear via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. Corporal, congratulations on the
Soon to be
promotion and raise.
lieutenant.
Captain Marcus Hines Corporal Marcus Hines is here for a little bit to talk about the stuff at, the hospital on Bert Coons yesterday. Hey, Corporal, welcome back to Keel. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Aaron, Robert. Happy New Year to you both.
Thank you, sir.
What do you know about what happened? What can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you right now, I spoke with some of our detectives a little earlier this morning, and they are continually working this investigation that took place yesterday here in the parking lot of one of our local hospitals. It's garnered a lot of attention, quite naturally, when you have an incident where a woman has been accosted by a suspect who is a woman and forced to drive her car to withdraw money from a local ATM. So that's risen some eyebrows, but our investigators are working around the clock to hopefully determine who did that and to do that fairly quickly. Right now we are pouring through some video evidence that's going to probably get us a little closer to where we're trying to go. That
video from the hospital, have you been able to identify a suspect from that yet?
Well, right now we have video from multiple places that we're pouring through right now, Aaron. Hopefully that video will give us some more insight. At the point we are now, we have not identified a suspect, but we are confident because you have to understand where this is. Geographically, there are cameras literally everywhere. So that's a good thing for us. And it's also relatively strange because we don't really get a lot of incidents over there. So we want to ensure that the public understands that we believe this may be an isolated incident because there's been some concern. I've gotten many calls. People, are we safe? Yes, you're safe. So we want to reiterate that. And again, because there's so many cameras in that area and as well as the hospital, we're pretty confident that we're going to find out who this person is.
There's a lot of chatter. I know you've seen it, social media, that people are suspicious of what this really was. Can you share with us if there's any inkling that the two women knew each other? Did they work together? Anything like that you can share?
We want to dispel any of that. We don't have the benefit we don't have any reason to believe that the victim is making this up or this may be some type of incident. If indeed that's the case, that's something that will probably come out later. But at this point in the investigation, there's no reason to believe the validity of what she's saying is not accurate.
Mr. Marcus, go ahead, finish up. I'm sorry.
Well, we just don't believe that's the case at this point. We do have some details that the public do not have, and obviously for the integrity of the investigation, we can't release those details. But we do believe what the victim is saying.
Related to this, what kind of precautions could people take to limit the possibility, the chance of this happening? Is there anything, especially women, I guess, that can do to sort of make themselves safer in an open area in a not terribly crowded parking lot?
You know, what we generally tell people, and we this is old age stuff, we've said it for years, is to be aware of your surroundings, whether it's a male or a female. If you see someone you're not familiar with, we don't want to be anything like paranoid or anything like that, but you have to have a heightened awareness of what's going on around you. Don't have your head in the clouds. We live in a society where people will take the opportunity to victimize you if you're not aware of what's going on. We're so involved in our cell phones and our other devices that we simply will walk into a puddle if we're not paying attention. So it's very good advice to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings. If someone looks suspicious, someone's walking towards you, you don't feel comfortable, you may want to make eye contact with that person and let them know, hey, I see you, I'm aware of you, and if possible, just kind of get a mental description of what you're seeing and kind of keep those things in your mind just in case you need to report that to the authorities.
Talking to Corporal Marcus Hines with the Shreveport Police. The suspect, reports indicate, actually brought the victim's car back to the hospital. Is that accurate or no?
That's what it appears right now, that the car was driven back to the hospital. But again, that's still part of the ongoing investigation. And we know that this information is out there. We see it. We hear it. Our phones have not stopped ringing about this case. So what we want to do is do our due diligence to follow all the leads that we have, gather up all the evidence, again, like we mentioned this morning, Our investigators have not stopped working since this began, and they're currently doing that right now.
Okay, so what car did the suspect leave in? What's the description of the car? What's the description of the suspect that folks need to know?
The description that we have right now is very vague. What we do believe is a light-skinned African-American female who was wearing a hot pink hooded sweatshirt or a hot pink sweater who was seen leaving, actually accosting the victim. So that was observed. But as far as the vehicle description that the suspect allegedly left in, we're still trying to make sure that we can provide you with an accurate description before we put that out there.
Mr. Marcus, you think this was like a one-time kind of thing? Are you concerned that this may be some sort of serial crimes that people need to be really on the alert for in the future?
I don't believe there's anything serial. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't get many reports of things like that happening in that area, especially with the suspect being a woman. So that's something that's kind of out of the ordinary. We don't believe that this is anything that's going to be a continuous issue, but we can tell you that we have officers who are aware of it. They're in that area. They were in that area. The police response was quick. It was heavy. And at this point right now, we don't believe that this is anything of serial nature, maybe an isolated incident. But again, we're not going to stop working until we can determine who this person is. And again, if we have anyone who has any leads, we do encourage you to call Crime Stoppers. You can do that by calling 673-7373. You can also visit Crime Stoppers via the web at p3tips.com. Leave any information that you like. We are offering a reward through Crime Stoppers for information that leads to the arrest of the suspect.
One more theory, Marcus, for you, and you can tell me to jump in the river. It sounds like perhaps this was a crime of opportunity, that the suspect saw this woman maybe walk into her car, not paying attention on her cell phone, and thought, I might be able to score some money here. Any chance that's what this was?
Well, we just don't know. We'd have to get that suspect in custody and actually conduct an interrogation to determine that. I mean, we can come up with a number of theories. Oftentimes, criminals do take advantage. They are very opportunistic. So you may have a situation where that's going on. We like to speak with our victim and see if there's anything that they can give us that could maybe give us an indication as to why, if any, reason they were targeted. But in this case, it looks like there was just a woman going about her business when this incident took place. And we're working hard to determine all the points that we can as to why this happened.
Physically speaking, just one last. Physically speaking, the victim is uninjured, I assume?
Fortunately, the victim was uninjured. We're thankful for that. Quite naturally, she's shaken emotionally, a very traumatic experience for the victim. But we're very thankful that the suspect did not injure the victim during this incident.